All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here, of course, for Psychopaths, episode 12.
Yes.
And things have gotten heated.
Just a little bit.
Things have gotten real.
Mm-hmm.
We have a very serious situation with Makishima really laying down the law, so to speak.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
Right?
Yeah, how are they going to follow that up?
I think that they're going to maybe take a step back a little bit.
Sure.
And really reevaluate the whole Sibyl system thing again.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe get some of the main characters to start questioning it a little bit.
Right, yeah, that was the mid-season finale, so now they're going to, sort of start back up.
Yeah, Makishima will probably disappear for a little bit. They'll focus more on what their thoughts are on the Sibyl system.
After what they've seen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And try to rationalize it
to
some extent. But yeah, it's another Psychopaths episode, so let's get into it. A band? Oh my god, yes, a music episode!
Okay.
Sit. Here.
Some tension here. Is this Kunizuki?
I think so. Kunizuka.
It's time to get up and start our day with a smile. And for all our guests who are latent criminals, keep working to purify your hues.
Wow.
Shall set you free. Rise and shine, patients. It's time to get up and start our day with a smile. And for all our guests who are latent criminals,
Interesting.
keep working to purify your hues. A pure hue shall set you free.
That's some...
It's time to get up and start our day with a smile.
That's the perfect level of
An
creepy.
enforcer for the police.
The Sibyl system determined that you would
She's
have a
needed
right.
some backstory.
Yeah.
You're a latent criminal. You won't get this chance again.
Does this mean that my psychopath is never getting back to normal?
Utilize your talents to the fullest and guarantee yourself a stable life by taking the occupational aptitude test. Help contribute to our wonderful civilization. Thanks to the OAT's implementation, any free civilian can enjoy art, nature, and peace.
Hey, hold up!
Are you Miss Kunizuka? The items you requested to borrow and purchase have arrived. Please verify the contents.
Wait a second.
Yes?
It's too light. Something I ordered must be missing. Where are my Ernie Ball guitar strings?
That purchase was not approved.
Again? How often do I have to request them?
Wow.
Sorry. Please submit another request.
Dang.
Come on! I haven't been able to play a guitar for over 6 months! Look at my hands! I'm already losing my calluses! You expect me to play with soft fingertips?
Your hue has changed to dark yellow.
Crap.
Don't worry. Breathe it in.
Wow.
Your hue's been pretty stable lately. Despite this setback, you should still be able to leave soon. And when you do, you'll be playing that guitar again that you're always talking about. It's a critical time for you. Be patient. I'll leave some supplements behind.
Loading service.
I think those are real guitar strings. The numbers might be wrong, though.
Yayoi! What are you doing? You can't hang with unauthorized bands! Your hue will cloud up. What?
I gotta go. Sorry. We didn't get to finish. Here. You can have it. Later.
Come with me, we're going home. Hold on, I want to stay and listen. An unauthorized band's music is worthless. You should know that by now.
The only thing worthless is letting Sibyl decide what kind of music to make. If you want my opinion.
Whoa. Cool. Wow.
It's nice to see this side of Kogami.
Mm-hmm.
Stay put long enough and you'll adapt to anything. Your subconscious turns the strangeness you see into a new normal that your emotions won't rebel against.
Ah.
As for me, the enforcers, even latent criminals in the rehabilitation facility.
What are you getting at?
Most don't come back from the rehabilitation facility with a normal state of mind.
Exactly.
I should say no one does. Some break down from the confinement. Some see their hue get so clouded they're executed. But those are extremes. Most of the latent criminals just become accustomed.
Yep.
What?
To a life where things are always being taken away from them. And then that emptiness ends up swallowing them whole. Of course, overcoming this state of mind through willpower might be possible for someone of your talents. But there's a quicker, easier way, too.
What is that?
Make you an enforcer.
The Sibyl system only allows inspectors and enforcers to carry and use it. It's the power behind the takers.
The power behind the takers.
If you want to stop things from being taken from you, then join the people who do the taking.
Yeah.
The dominator you hold is what makes it possible. Kunizuka, your ID is registered to that gun.
What? Why would you do that?
You never know what might happen when you're on duty. Always carry it.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna make an explosion.
I'm positive that was Rena's voice.
Oh, wow.
Dang.
Don't move, or I slice her up.
Rena,
Yayoi!
are you okay?
Yeah, it went off pretty far from the stage, so I'm... Hey, wait, what are you doing back in town? Did you get out of rehab?
It's kind of hard to explain. I'm here with the MWPSB.
The cops?
Yo, Rena! Thanks for waiting.
Oh, shoot.
This is all we managed to save.
That's okay. You tried. How many are left?
Dang. Yeah.
Are those?
Rena, who is this chick?
No one. Go on ahead.
What's going on?
I said go. I'll catch up.
Yes, ma'am.
Yep. Saw this coming.
Uh-huh.
This isn't gonna end well.
Nope.
Her psychopath is gonna be stupidly high. Whoa.
Wow. That went up fast.
Jeez.
As you can probably tell, we are attacking Sibyl. We're rebelling.
If you do that, you become worse than a latent criminal. If you're captured, they'll execute you.
They call this a democracy, but the people who win our elections are nothing but impotent figureheads. This isn't a free country, Yayoi. It's a farce.
Wow.
The people who rule over us are all chosen by Sibyl. Every day, people become slaves.
That is
People
a good
who watch the
point.
Program, and they're all too brainwashed to even notice. But our music, with that we have power. We can change people's hearts and minds. We'll turn the slaves of Sibyl into free men and women. And when
Sounds kinda like
hear our
Makishima.
music,
Yeah.
The world will be reborn.
That's wrong. It's not what I wanted.
Yayoi.
The whole time I was away, the only thing that kept me going was dreaming about playing music again. Just rocking out and being on stage, right next to you.
You should have dreamed bigger. It's totally pointless. Without power.
It's pointless.
That's right. We need a powerful movement behind our music, Yayoi.
Rena.
She's basically saying the music
Had
isn't
such a
enough.
good thing going. But then it all had to change, huh?
Is that...
A dominator. It's Sibyl's eyes.
You're really choosing to side with them?
Don't do this, Rena. Come with me. It's not too late, there's still time. If you stay on this path to a rebellion, all you're doing is helping sign your own death certificate. Please, Rena, come with me.
They're not showing us what her psychopath is.
Right.
Or you shoot me? Is that it?
Yeah, that's the only option I have left for stopping you.
You don't have it in you.
No, Rena. Stop. I'll do it. I'll shoot you, I swear.
It's easier when their back is turned.
Yep.
Invalid user.
Oh.
Gun deactivated.
What the hell? Come on. Shoot, damn it. I'll do it. I'll become an enforcer.
It doesn't explain why she'd get so cold, though.
I'm in. I choose your side.
She doesn't want to go back to
Right.
where she was. Alright, so that was a very unexpected episode.
It was. It almost felt like a token backstory episode.
Well,
Like,
it's exactly what it was.
Yes, okay, but they decided to give that to the character who, until this point, we
Was
knew
the least interesting.
Was not only the least interesting, but we had gotten like absolutely no time with them in the show.
Yeah.
And it seems like, okay, we've talked
It's
before
the
about how
team
she's
as
the token
well.
second female character.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're giving the token second female character the backstory episode, when really, like, I would be way more interested in seeing Kaguri's or Masayoka's.
I wouldn't be interested in seeing Kaguri's. Kaguri's character is purely, I would say he was the same kind of character as Kunizuka for Kunizuka. I think it's Kunizuka. We got the correct pronunciation this time. But yeah, with what we're getting, it was an important episode for the team because we got to see Inspector Kogami. We got to see Ginoza with a prior partner to Kogami, which is interesting because it shows where Ginoza's kind of worry about Kogami comes from.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's good.
Yeah,
I'd say if anything, it gives some extra context to the team as a whole.
Right. And it was good to see Kogami's old partner. Well, I forget what the dude's name was, but
it's forgettable.
Yeah, forgettable. But since he is an important piece in Kogami's history and Ginoza's history, it was good to see him. And now, I would say more important to see him than Miss Bechdel.
Yeah. So with what we got, I am glad that we got a backstory.
Yes.
Because backstory is something that we haven't really gotten much shown.
We haven't gotten at all.
No, we've gotten backstory told to us.
Right, told but not shown. Yes, right.
So with it being shown here, we have all this extra kind of layered context about the world of Sibyl, specifically with a latent criminal being transferred to the enforcement kind of agency.
Right.
And what that looks like.
Now, did you get the vibe that Makishima was actually behind this and helping them sabotage the road
it's a
scanners?
mirroring. It's a mirroring.
Okay. Well,
they would not. They would not bring this up and not hint at it being connected to Makishima.
Right.
They're not going to bring this band up ever again.
No, of course not.
There's no reason to do that. So why would you get the vibe?
Because the band player seemed like another, maybe more toned down version, granted, of one of Makishima's,
No, it's just another person.
subjects.
It's just another person that's really upset at the civil system because it's obviously messed up. I think we can't attribute everything to Makishima.
No, but it was just one of those things where I wondered, like, okay, they have these explosives. That's fine. They could get their hands on explosives, but
they weren't explosives. They were Molotov cocktails.
Well, okay, yes, but they
I laughed when they're like explosives. I'm like,
yeah,
those are Molotov cocktails. You couldn't do almost anything with those.
But they also but they were specifically targeting the psychopath scanners in an area of the city.
Sure.
And that just seemed like something that maybe Makishima, I could imagine Makishima.
No, did you hear her rant about the whole civil system and the country being a lie, like the democracy part and the politics part? That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah, sure, maybe, but
maybe they would have actually brought Makishima into this backstory if they wanted to draw a connection there.
Sure.
The idea is that this is an episodic backstory episode just put in to give some added context to the team as a whole.
Sure.
Kunizuka, and I love saying Kunizuka rather than Kanizuka. That just felt so weird saying that. So Kunizuka, and not only that, we get a little bit more backstory with a past relationship of hers that gives maybe a little bit more understanding to her relationship with the analyst as a part of the team. I always forget her name, but she's really attractive. Right. And they had the little kind of funny, awkward scene where she's like putting on her leggings and stuff right after Kunizuka leaves, and Akane is like just joining in.
Yeah,
that part was kind of fun. With this though, Kunizuka has a motivation now where she had none, which I say upgrades her past Kaguri's character. But, so does that give a death flag for Kunizuka?
Yeah, I would say it...
Like hardcore, or does this mean she's actually safe because they dedicated an entire episode to her and not just a little bit of side character development splashed in throughout an episode of regular plot?
I would say at the very least it's a minor death flag.
I would say it's a minor death flag only because with her character having this much backstory dedicated to her, it almost seems like they're either closing off her character development for the rest of the season now, or that they're starting off character development for the future, but it won't be around a death thing. It will be around the aspect of someone questioning the Sibyl system.
Sure, yeah. And in that sense, this episode was very fitting to have be placed right after the whole deal with Makishima and all that.
It also slows it down, like we predicted.
And it does slow it down.
Instead, this was a very episodic one that brings into question the whole aspect of the Sibyl system that we had just heard from Makishima in the previous episode. But coming from a different character, I can see why you would, say, oh, this is obviously connected to Makishima. I would say it's not at all connected to Makishima. She is another Makishima type character, mirroring, so that in that way Kunizuka is mirroring Akane, and that they had their little standoff.
Yeah.
And once again, Kunizuka couldn't shoot.
Right.
Just like Akane couldn't shoot. So it's not related to Makishima. So it would be very lame to pull the whole thing of, remember in that backstory thing? Oh, yeah, but, Akane would have to hear about it all over again because she wasn't there.
I find myself in a weird juxtaposition where I both want Kunizuka or whatever her name is. Yeah, whatever her name is. I want her to both get more backstory, and I don't want her to get more backstory, because with the way this is right now, it's incomplete. It's not enough. We don't know anything really about her motivations. She doesn't have any motivations. She just has no. What she has, like she had a reason for why she became an enforcer, but she has no.
Yes. That's all that happened to her this episode.
Yes,
she became an enforcer.
Yes, and I would say that's a bit weak as far as an episode is concerned. The other stuff that we got from the bands and all that stuff, that was good, but I would say that was more world building than actually developing her as a character. So if they want to actually kill her off,
she had no character prior to this.
This is a vast
gave
improvement.
Her a character.
Kind of. Like, I would say that, okay, so here's the thing.
She's still a side character. She's no Kogami.
Absolutely. But if they're going to, like, kill her off or whatever, if they're wanting to develop her just so that she's developed as a character, then they need to do more, because I at least certainly don't care about her as a character.
Are you listening to kind of the things that I'm bringing up as points? This is either a complete character development bit for her, or they're kickstarting off more character development for her. So neither of these end up being in a situation where...
Or what I could see is that they're not kickstarting more character development for her. They're kickstarting more character development for other people in the team by showing what things were like before Akane came along. And in that sense, because a lot of the meat, I would say, that we got this episode was not from her. It was from Kogami and Ginoza, seeing them, because they were very different back then than they are now. And I would say that would be an arc I could see them doing.
I do not see what you're really talking about as being a really big portion of it. Ginoza was exactly the same. He was exactly the same. Kogami is the only one who was really different because he was the only one that was actually shown and given proper backstory to. So if anything, it's just Kogami getting to see him as an inspector.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't see Masayoka at all. And I don't care about that one scene where we see him in the bar. That doesn't count. There was no Kagari, so it doesn't count.
Right.
Kunizuka was the other person that was actually focused on. And Ginoza was basically exactly the same. Like, basically the same. If anything, he was just a little bit less complaining about Kogami because Kogami wasn't a latent criminal at the time. So again, it all centers around either Kogami or Kunizuka. And Kunizuka, we ended up finding out that not only was she someone who was a very, very different position than where she is currently as an enforcer, she was someone who wanted to do this thing with music and not immediately, threw it away once she got the opportunity at coming back into life as society. So that's what's important for her, is being out and experiencing life and living it.
Yes.
Not necessarily what she's doing in that life.
And I would say that I really liked that part. I liked showing because the contrast between
that's
her
motivation though, and you said she has
no. Except here's the thing: they haven't connected the pieces. When she decided to become an enforcer, right? Mm-hmm. That might make sense if it's like, okay, because I want to be free, right? That's a very easy thing to go along with, right? But with the kind of person she was at that point, I do not see much connection at all between how she would go from deciding to become an enforcer to the way she is now, unless, and this is a stretch, if they want to take the thing that Ginoza mentioned of you adapt to whatever environment you're in and have it become the norm, if they're basically saying you just have to infer everything else that happened, and just because she decided to become an enforcer and that became her life, she changed into the person she is today.
See, I think you're using no, think about it. You said that up until this point she had no character, right?
Exactly.
Which means you can't say anything about what she was right now before this backstory thing. There's nothing about her character that is defined prior to this episode.
Sure.
You can't call her cold. You can't
no, I absolutely can.
No, you never saw her actually do anything prior to this episode.
Yes, we did.
No. When did she ever use a Dominator?
She didn't use a Dominator.
No, okay. When was she involved in an investigation where she made a decision?
One, there's the whole monotone thing that fits into the into the trope. There's also the whole point when she's trying to comfort the person or whatever, and she says, "Oh, don't do that. Your psychopaths will get all cloudy." That's obviously something that is not. How should I say? There's very little empathy in that little bit, and that was the biggest thing that we got. Therefore, whatever we do see, that means that's what's most important. Mm-hmm. Because if they're only showing us three things, even if they're really minor things, that's what they're categorizing her character as.
But you're contradicting yourself. You're saying that she had no character except for those few things, and yet that there's this great jump in from when we saw what we saw in this episode to what we see currently. But what we saw currently in real time of where the psychopath story is at right now, there is almost no substance there.
Right.
So you can easily infer things that have no substance. Like, that's my point, is that you can infer anything as long as there's no substance to it. So my point is that Kunizuka's character is a blank slate, but we get a little bit of context as to how she came to this place outside of the substance.
Maybe. I would say that in the present time of the show, she's more or less a blank slate.
Yeah.
Before, in the backstory that we've seen, she wasn't really a blank slate.
Exactly.
But there was some erasing that happened, a whole lot of erasing that happened in between that time. And none of the stuff that I saw in the backstory...
Really? The very last thing. What did she do? What was the very last thing we saw? She left things in her cell.
Yes, she left things in her cell.
Yep, it was the relationship with the nail polish, and it was the guitar strings. Her previous life is gone. She made herself a blank slate by sheer willpower, just like Kogami was talking about. The things that the mental aspects that people have to hold on to. The only way to get onto it is get through it is through sheer willpower, which she decided to do by pointing the Dominator at her previous friend/potential lover. Now, she's completely renounced it, and then she does a physical act to remove that life from herself by leaving those things in the cell. Now she's a blank slate. Now she's a character that is complete neutral, no emotion, cold, as you say, and it makes perfect sense. I rest my case.
I would say if that's what they were doing, they did it in a very, very clunky way. Here's why.
Sure, but that's what they did. Who cares if it's clunky? It's what happened.
Okay. Then I would say that means that I would want to see more to actually have it be done in a way that works well.
That's what I said. This is either going to be... I said it's either going to be one of those two. It's either going to be this is all of it, right? Or there's going to be more and this leads through it.
Yes, and I'm saying while I do want there to be more to get her character developed more, it does not make sense to focus on her character at this point in the story.
No.
It does not.
No. I don't think that's necessarily a good choice for the show as a whole, but one of the things that I don't do when I'm reviewing shows like this is really think about too much of how it could have been made better, and more of deriving as much value I can out of the things that I do get. And one of the things that this episode does very well is it takes a character who I previously did not care about at all.
Mm-hmm.
At all. And now I'm interested in further character development, and so are you.
But here's the thing. The character of her that I am interested in, I do not care about the present version of her at all. Like, they're zero. The version of her that I care about is the past one. I want to see what led her to become the person that she is today.
You won't.
And I won't, and that upsets me. If they did do that, I would wonder why they're doing that for her and not for any of the other characters, and why they're doing it now, and why they didn't, give us some foreshadowing so we knew she was actually going to be a real character and not just some token, Bechdel person.
Interesting.
So,
okay, I hear your complaints, Jacob. I honestly don't care about them. Like the episode here and what it was a break. It was a break from the main plot.
Yep.
And the way you set up the dramatic tension for what's going to happen next with Makishima is by essentially delaying a little bit of our gratification for that coming to fruition. And this episode couldn't fit anywhere in Psychopaths.
Right. Yes.
It doesn't matter where it goes.
Right. Absolutely.
So the episode itself isn't a great episode.
Well, yeah.
I'm not debating that with you, Jacob. The episode was not a great episode. But what it does is something that's unique specifically to the show's dynamic, in that we have a team, and now we get to see the team through the eyes of Kunizuka specifically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a different context, in a different light. So what they can do is they can add even further context by bringing up things that happened in the past related to someone like Kogami, or Ginoza,
absolutely,
or Kunizuka when she does die, if she does die.
Sure.
Not only that, but say a different character dies.
Yeah.
Like Masayoka or Kagari.
Yeah.
Those characters getting that really rough kind of point there can bring back portions of Kunizuka's character.
And I would like to see that.
Because here's the thing that you're bringing up, is that you don't like her current character right now. Who's to say that she actually can get free of her past by sheer willpower? Who's to say that her leaving things behind actually worked? All that needs to happen is to have something similar like this come up in a future episode.
Sure.
And then suddenly her character has this duality that she's wrestling between. I don't care whether or not that comes to fruition, because I didn't care about her character prior to this episode.
Right.
So I don't get where the fuss is about all of this. Other than the episode, you're focusing on the character too much. If anything, I think you should target the episode. A little bit more.
Episode, I would say, was definitely needed, because we just had a lot of really intense stuff happen. They needed to do a bit of a break, right?
I think you're confusing me.
But the problem that I have with it is the way they executed it. If you're going to focus on a character, then focus on the character.
Yeah.
Now, and what I was disappointed by is that they were it was like they were split between what they wanted to do. They weren't
Absolutely.
sure. They weren't sure
Yeah.
whether they were going to give her backstory or whether they were going to give perspective on Kogami and Ginoza and those people.
So they
right?
half-assed both of them.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
then since they were confining it to just one episode, which I totally understand that is what they kind of have to do in this situation.
They could not.
They could not have
extend
extended it to
multiple
multiple episodes. But because they confined it to one episode and were split on what they wanted to do, the resolution for her little character arc that we got here was left unsatisfying. It feels like there's still missing links. And
sure, cool.
And
you don't need to have it all tied up in one episode. That's my point. Is that it's either going to be that this is all of it, or it's not. Who knows? I don't get why you think it has to be a thing where we know whether or not it's all of it right now, though.
No, I know, but if you remember what I said at the beginning, I was saying that either way, I think it's a no-win scenario.
Oh, well, that's just pessimistic. That's really pessimistic, because that's essentially saying that the future of this cannot redeem this.
I'm not saying that it can't redeem it. I'm saying that it's not the best way to do things.
Sure, cool. Like, Jacob, let me bring you out of this situation right here. You're way too negative right now. Korra Book 2. We had a very bad section of 4 episodes in Legend of Korra. Sorry, guys, for those of you who haven't watched Legend of Korra. I'm just bringing this here to show a metaphor for Jacob. You have Legend of Korra Book 2, and you had those 4 episodes or so that are just pretty bad.
Right.
Then you had the next 4 episodes after that, which were almost perfect. Like, they were
so
good.
They were,
in terms of enjoyment.
They were awesome.
That they redeemed, for me at least, the second season to some extent.
Sure.
Because in the moment, when we were dealing with those episodes week to week, it was awful. It was awful. And the idea was, it doesn't matter. It's irreparably ruined. Right now, we don't consider Book 2 to be less than like an 8 out of 10 or like a 7.5 out of 10. But when we were in the moment, Korra Book 2 was like a 3 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. This is one episode. One episode focusing on a side character's backstory. So all these factors, like, think about it in a broader context. This could have been a recap episode.
Yeah, like, of course it could have been worse.
It could have been. I'm not saying that just to focus on the could have been worse thing, but thinking about it in the context of what you're saying, that this episode has irreparably damaged Kunizuka's character.
I'm just really peeved that, because I've wanted backstory episodes in Psychopaths. That's something that I've been wanting for a while. Not just talking about people's backstories, but actually showing it. And the one time they decide to show a backstory episode is for the token second female character that we don't care about at all.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I would have rather had a Kogami Ginoza backstory.
Yeah, that would have been great.
But we didn't get it. So I don't get why you're complaining about it.
Well,
there's reality of what happens, and then there's what we would have wanted to have happen.
Yeah.
I don't deal in the speculative things of, like...
Oh, you absolutely
No, I'm talking about speculative
totally
things in the past. Once it's the past, I don't care. The theories, the speculation are things towards the future. So as long as it ties into that respect, I'm interested in it. But I can't discuss with you I would have liked to have this. I'd be like, yes, I would have liked to have it. Now let's move on.
All right.
Because I got a lot of really good stuff out of just that bit where Kogami decides to talk to them about latent criminals getting past their previous life, even though a large percentage of them do not ever do that.
Yep.
So they're basically setting up foreshadowing for her to not actually have gotten over it. If what you're saying is that she did get over it because they just inferred a lot of character development off screen, that's possible. I would say that's on the lower percentage of possibility, other than the fact that she left the 2 things that were most precious to her in the prison ward when she became an enforcer.
Yes, and if you think about it, okay, this episode is a great gesture, basically saying that, hey, we know we didn't do anything with her character before, but even though I wouldn't be as excited to see those moments, because I haven't gotten to care about the character in the first half of the show, they could totally make us care about the character in this second half of it, just by showing, that kind of conflict and emotions and stuff that we saw in this episode.
Yep. And for all you know, Kaguri's next.
Yep.
And this very next episode is them realizing, hey, we didn't give enough for Kaguri or Masayoka, so we're going to delve deep into their backstory and not have it be directly related to this.
Yeah.
But see, that's the thing, though. You should approach it more like that, with that attitude, because you'll end up getting way more out of this episode if you look at it based around what it did right rather than what it did wrong.
Yes,
and
sure.
one of the things that we do really well, Jacob, with our discussion is synergizing each other and talking about the things that we gleaned from the episodes that weren't necessarily great ones, to where we can pull actual nuggets of really effective storytelling out of contexts or settings or episodes where it just wasn't really executed well. So I mean, you criticize all you want. I just won't really make it easy for you.
Okay. But yes, the new perspective that we saw of Kogami was fantastic. Both Kogami's spiel and Ginoza's were both great. I loved them. And even though he wasn't a character before this point, it was nice to actually see the personality of the person that Kogami cared so much about. Even if, you know...
Yeah, but was that him?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought that was Ginoza's... No. Ginoza was looking for Kunizuka.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And that was... what was it? Sasayama, I think.
Sasayama?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we might have gotten the name wrong, but just let us know in the comments if we did. All right, guys. Well, that's an episode, and that was a lot of discussion for an episode that wasn't really that great. But either way, it's discussion. It's SOS. It's good stuff. All right, guys. We'll see you again next time. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.